Got it. How important is coding for cybersecurity?
Well, it's definitely a plus, but it is not a factor that will limit you. Just from my background, you know that I'm not a coder. And one of the things that I often laugh about is when the recruiter from Google reached out to me and asked me to interview at Google. I said, "Hey, why are you reaching out to me? Because I'm not a coder. I can't code." And she said, "Well, there are other opportunities in the cyberspace, and life has come full circle. I'm sharing that with you today, where it's important to realize that it's nice to have. You can be successful in some areas within cyber if you're a coder, but there are so many different perspectives in cyber that you can work on that is not related or dependent on coding."
Got it. How's like for everyone working in Google is a big thing, including me. Like I wanted to, but I don't know if I want to anymore. I'm happy with my job where I am. I love people who I work with. So how is it? I think there's two questions to this, like two parts to this question. First thing is, how was your interview process with Google? We'll start with there, and then I'll tell you the second part of the question. I want to know how was the interview process.
Yeah, I think a lot of folks, and like you said, right, a lot of folks feel like they want to do it, but they're reluctant to do it because it feels like it's this big monster in the room. And I was one of those, right? I never ever anticipated that I would work at Google because I was not a computer science major. When the recruiter reached out to me on LinkedIn, I was surprised and shocked. And I think there was a little bit of excitement where I was like, hey, yeah, someone's interested in what I have to offer. But I was more scared that someone was trying to spam me, right? So I didn't want to be in a situation where I'm getting excited about something, but it was a scam reach out. So I did my due diligence. The cyber person and me went did some research. I was like, yeah, this is really a Google recruiter, and this person really wants to talk to me. So I went ahead and had that conversation. And I think the most important thing that a lot of us forget is we're always so prepared for everything in our life that we forget to bring our most authentic self. And when I was doing this interview, because I didn't know what was in store for me, I was honest, right? I went into the interview and I said, hey, I don't know the code. I don't know why you're reaching out to me. I think you got the wrong person. And she explained to me that there's so many different opportunities and I should give it a shot and see where it takes me. And I think I've shared this with you before, but I was so embarrassed of this person reaching out to me. And honestly, I should have been very proud and happy and shared it with my people. But I was so embarrassed because I thought I wasn't ready for it, right? I had this huge imposter syndrome where I was like, people are going to judge me to think I could even get a job at Google. So I'm like, I'm not going to tell anyone. I'm going to do this under wraps. Let's see how it works out for me. So I went ahead and did the interview, did a couple of technical interviews, spoke to multiple people. And I will say that I won't say they were hard, but most of the questions they asked me, I felt like could have gone anyway. There's no right answer to it. And that's, I think, with most interviews. There's never a right answer. It's how you think through the problem solving. Right. And I didn't think I did well. I felt like I'd blown the interview for sure. And then I would get through every round and I still felt like I wasn't ready for it till I got to the last round. And when I went to the last round, it's called the on site interview. We had to speak to five Google employees across five principals within Google. And they touch on different topics, right? It's a holistic assessment of how you show up in that organization. And I think the best piece I liked is they also had one interview where they do a fit check to see if you would work well with the people on your team, right? It's not just about your skill set, it's not just about your education, but it's also about being able to work with the team because you need to find your people to be able to thrive, right? And all of this took a good 6 7 months, and it was extremely intensive but well worth it. I feel like it helped me identify things about myself that I didn't know. And after I got through the interviews, every round I would feel like, okay, they're going to knock me off this round. they're going to knock me off in the next round, right? And then towards the end of it, I got through all the interviews. I was like, wow, I got through all of it. This is awesome. She called me and she said, hey, you gotten through your on-site. I was like, fantastic, I got the job. And she was like, oh, no, not just yet. We're kidding. You have to go through an approval process. And then I started reading up on Reddit and all of these different sources about the approval process. And what I read through those sources was essentially you present it to a board at Google, and you have a senior vice president who will review your resume and approve or not approve your case. And if you don't get approved, then you don't get the job, even though you nailed the on-site interview. Wow. So it's extremely important to get through that round. Based on Reddit, most of the folks fall off on that
in that round.
right? And it's like a 30 to 40% selection. So if you have 10 resumes being presented, 3 or 4 resumes get selected. So it is really hard for you to be able to get through that, is what I read. And after they called in and told me I had gotten through that and I was up for the next round, they do a team match, which I think was my favorite part of the interview process, because a lot of opportunities that we take on, we have a specific role that we're applying for. But the way Google hires is they're looking to onboard you to the company rather than a specific role, right? So what that means is there's so many different teams and there's so many different job profiles, and they let you meet the team and you select each other. So if you like a team, you pick that team, and then the team checks you out and says, hey, do I want to be with this person? Very much like an arranged marriage. And if you can walk away and go to another team, I like that flexibility because you really get to choose which area you want to work in within Google, because it's a huge organization. So you're choosing the opportunity where you feel you can be most impactful.
Got it.